Hey guys, this is Awesome John 22 coming today with another review. I know I said I didn't have any more Power Rangers stuff in my last Power Rangers review. I misspoke a little bit. I meant to say I didn't have any more modern Power Rangers stuff to go over, but yeah, I still have these guys. So I figured I'd go ahead and get them out of the way. I have more than this. I have more figures from past series than this, like actual first run ones too. Lots and lots of them, but I'm never going to review them. At least not the ones I have right now, for the simple reason that they aren't my original figures. I bought them off of another collector who didn't take very good care of them. So they're not in very good condition. My original figures were, well, it's a long story. They were lost several years ago. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into it right now. But I don't have them anymore, which was a big part of the reason why I was so excited when this figure came out a few years ago for the 20th anniversary. This is the re-release of the original Dino Megazord from the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and it does some things so much better than the original release. Like, for example, all of these stickers, all of these stickers, not just on this guy, but all of the stickers on all of these figures, save for a few of them, were like these were accurate on the American version. These stripes, I believe the earpieces, but like this symbol here, which is really prominent in robot mode, was completely different on the American release of the original toy. I don't understand why. And okay, these guys are kind of lightweight. The plastic doesn't feel like the best quality, unfortunately. Whereas on the original release figure, they were very hefty, very bulky, very solid. And yet, I find in a lot of ways I still like these guys more. Another example, the wheels on this is clearly a wheel and this is clearly a wheel. They're just molded in. They're not actual functioning wheels where they were on the original. But at the same time, this looks sleeker than the original did. And it has show accurate side stickers here. Another example, this guy. His guns on his tail are static on this figure, whereas on the original figure they could pose individually, but that also meant they were a separate piece and you could pop them off and lose them. On this guy, you have these hollow legs that were completely solid on the original release figure, but here, and while here they're not, but at the same time you don't really see them in this mode, and there's a way around them in the only other mode where you see his feet. So I can't really fault the figure for it. It's like, yeah, they didn't make a perfect replica of that original toy. Yeah, the quality's not quite as good as I'd like it to be, but at the same time, I feel like it does so many things right. And I should point out that this is actually the low-end version of this figure. There was another version that had better quality plastic and some die-cast parts that is like 60 to 80 bucks, and I just didn't want to shell out that much money for it, so I got this one instead, and I'm not disappointed. I actually really like this figure. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this guy transformed up and kind of show off why. And first we're going to transform him into his third mode, which is pretty interesting. If you don't know anything about the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and you just know the Megazord, you might not know anything about this. First, we're gonna fold up the saber-toothed tiger's teeth, and we're just gonna kind of bring these to here. They don't actually like stop there, but you can kind of tell where they're supposed to go. And bring these in, bring this up, and then for this guy, it's even more grueling. Yeah, that's it. No, that's not even a good joke. It's easy. This guy's a little more complicated. We're gonna pop this off, straighten out his back legs, open him up, and rotate these arms, which are clearly now arms, forward. And this is what I was talking about. You have this here. Now these hollow parts are straight up. But this guy utilizes Zord Builder parts, so you can swap out the arms if you want. So what I like to do when going into this mode is just swap the arms so that the molded in part is now facing up, and you are none the wiser, because as we all know, out of sight equals out of mind. Right, set this guy out to the side, and pterodactyl here, we're just gonna pop her feet off. And finally, we're gonna move on to the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and for this guy's transformation, you literally just kind of flatten him down like that. And I guess put those up, I think, is what you're supposed to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now you... here's another interesting thing. I really like this. Some people hated this. I really like this. On the original release of the figure and in the show, you see like these round bits actually plug all the way into the legs. But that meant that on the toy, the legs had to be really thick. Disproportionately thick compared to how they appeared in the show. Here you just have a Zord Builder port, so it just kind of sits there, and it's not quite as screen accurate, but the proportions of the legs end up being a lot better. And you'll see better in robot mode, but for now, plug these in. Come on, there we go. Plug these in, going straight forward. Next, take the arms, and they have these same clips that are on like every Megazord ever. Plugs in like that, then comes around, plugs in like that. Take, if I don't drop them, pterodactyl's feet, and plug them into these holes in the mastodon's feet to make big mega blaster guns. Come around to the back, and you can see there these clips on pterodactyl. They just slot in. It's a little tricky. Slot in behind the rest of the robot, between the mastodon's feet, and take this, plug it in the chest to make a chest shield. Yeah, there we go. This is a Megazord tank mode, and it's kind of a tank in the same way that Fortress Maximus can become a base, in that this is clearly just a robot sitting down, but it does, I mean, it doesn't really roll because there's no wheels, but it slides easily enough, I guess, and it certainly looks like it could deal some damage, and this mode was used in the show several times. So it's nice that you can still pull it off. The original toy, you could do this. It's nice you can do it on this one as well. I really quite like it. But what I like way more than this is the final mode. So let's go ahead and get that going. First, let's remove those. And we're going to take these hands and rotate them around. And of course, the hands are now hollow. So unfortunately, we have to now swap the arms again, which literally just takes a second. So I honestly don't. It's supposed to take a second. Jeez. There we go. So I don't really worry about it that much, but there we go. Fold these up like that. Pop this off of the chest. Pop the pterodactyl off the back. I mean, we all know she really wanted to come off there anyway. Then you just stand him up. Come on, there we go. Like so. Take his tail, the red Zord's tail, and it just pegs into the back like so. Open up the Tyrannosaurus chest. It's kind of giving me trouble from behind the camera. There we go. And oh yeah, I forgot. The Tyrannosaurus actually has a gun in his mouth. That's pretty cool. I like it. Bring this down like so. Pop that back up. It reveals the head. I really need to dust my toys better. Then we take the pterodactyl. We bring her head in, so it's like that. Bring her wings in. Then we just kind of slot her into the front, like so. I guess do this. Pop the Mastodon shield in. I guess you could bring it forward further if you wanted it to. I come to the back, plug these guns in like so, just for storage really. And then Megazord sequence activated. Bring his horns forward. And kind of hard to get this guy on camera because he's pretty tall. Bring him back a little bit. Adjust this for a second. There we go, that's a little bit better. Now you can see we have the Dino Megazord, which is actually not made up of very many dinosaurs. That's even better. Really not made up of very many dinosaurs. There's like 3 dinosaurs to 2 mammals. But yeah, he looks good. And I mean, geez, the proportions on this version of the figure are so much better than on the original version of the figure. On the original version of the figure, he was a lot wider. His legs were like perfectly straight down instead of kind of bowed the way they are. His shoulder width was huge, so his head looked really tiny in proportion to it. This one just has such better proportions, and the accurate stickers. When I was a kid, I didn't really notice the inaccuracy of the decals, the details and stuff. Here, though, like, let me put it this way. I actually had to read on the internet that the details on the Megazord were significantly different from the show to the actual toy release before I knew about it. However, if I had never learned that and looked at this guy, I would have immediately recognized how much more accurate it was, because it is that much more accurate. It looks so much more like the version we see in the show, which is, of course, the Japanese version, because it is just Japanese stock footage. It's just remarkable. It's remarkable to me that they were able to make the Zords so resemble the individual Zords from the show and the original Zord toys, and still give the combined mode such a robot that is so much more proportionately built than ones that we had seen previously. Blows me away, and it's the main reason why I recommend that collectors nowadays don't bother going out for the original version. It's too expensive, and unless you get the Sentai version, you're going to have all these sticker inaccuracies anyway, and you're going to have to buy a third-party sticker sheet, and it's just a whole mess. This guy is perfectly adequate, especially if you have a little bit of extra money to go out for the premium version. Of course, he does come with his sword. The Power Sword, I believe it was called in the show. The American show. I don't know what it was called in Zyuranger. But, yep, he can hold it in his free hand. It's soft rubbery plastic, which kind of bugs me because the original Power Sword was like really cool chrome hard plastic, but I understand why. It's a lot easier to poke a kid's eye out with soft plastic than it is with a really hard plastic. Basically a hard plastic knife. So, yeah, I love this toy. It's not perfect. It's, in fact, pretty far from perfect. But, you know, it has roughly the same number of imperfections as the original did. The build here isn't quite as stable. It's not quite as high quality, but you have to understand this was coming from an era of Power Rangers when they really didn't have a toy budget. Just the fact that we got this guy at all was remarkable. And now, over the past few years, they've also released a new compatible Green Dragon Zord with accurate decals, and I believe, if they haven't already, that there are plans to release a new compatible show accurate Titanus, which means that you could actually still use this Zord to build the Ultra Zord if you so want. And I think that's great. I think it's great. It was certainly a much better way of introducing children of this generation to a show that I'm really nostalgic for than the re-release of the show was, with like the added graphics and stuff. It was just sad how dumb it was. But yeah, I highly recommend this toy. It's a few years old now, but I don't think you'll have any trouble finding it. The price might have gone up a little bit. I don't really see that as that much of an issue. If you're looking to get yourself the original Dino Megazord from the original Power Rangers. This is definitely a great way to go about it. But yeah, that's about it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it, because I certainly enjoyed making it. In fact, I enjoyed this one a lot, talking about a figure I really love. Please help me out, like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you feel so inclined. In the description down below, you'll find links to all the other things I'm working on. I actually, in my main blog, I have a pretty lengthy review coming up. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, and I finally decided to just go ahead and do it. But yeah, check that out, and check out my collection post, which lists all the figures in my collection, which I am willing to review. If you see anything in that you would like me to review, let me know, and I will see what I can do. This has been Awesome John 22, and I will talk to you guys later.